Very good morning to all of you. So we will officially start the webinar of today. A very warm welcome to all the participants, respected principal, professors, faculty participants, student participants, faculty from other colleges, and our valuable speakers. A warm welcome to today's webinar conducted by Vedayasa Institute of Technology. The Mechanical Engineering and the CSE department, in association with CSI chapter, welcomes all of you to the live webinar session for IR and Data Analytics in Industry 4.0. On behalf of the departments of CSE and Mechanical Engineering, I wish a warm welcome to all the participants and the speakers to this valuable session. And today's title, The Fourth Industrial Revolution and Data Analytics in Industry 4.0, is a valuable topic suggested by our Dean Jaget Babu sir, along with our valuable speaker, Dr. Venugopal sir. The accelerating pace and change of information and communication technology has bring a phenomenal change in industrial environment. The induction of cutting-edge technologies leads to the transition in manufacturing processes that transforms the hand production methods into machine-driven. This automation of manufacturing mechanisms results in industrial revolution. With the evolution of social web, the massive amount of data has been generated and its optimal utilization has contributed in shaping up the fourth industrial revolution. As a step towards the development of smart and sustainable industry, big data analytics is playing a crucial role. Today, we have taken this valuable topic on fourth industrial revolution and data analytics in industry. The outcome expected after this workshop of webinar is the rise of new digital industrial technology known as the Industrial 4.0, which is a transformation that makes possible to gather and analyze data across machines, enabling faster, more flexible and more efficient process to produce higher quality goods at reduced cost. I think the participants will have a valuable time and valuable knowledge after this session. Now let me take the honor to introduce our speakers, Dr. Jaget Babu sir. Sir is working as Dean Academics at VVIT and sir has spent nearly 30 years in his professional academic career as professor in various renowned institutions like CET, Adi Shankara, etc. Sir has worked for different types of sessions which are interested with mind-blogging transformation underway, etc. And after his retirement, Sir has taken an advantage of the opportunity of taking service as a position of Dean Academics with VVIT. Sir has had keen eyes enabling him to see the dramatic changes taking place in the world over the last 40 years. His valuable experience in various areas have helped us a lot in improving various standards in our academic concepts. Sorry for the interruption. Dr. Venugopal Kanavalil has served as a professor of computer science at Presidency University, Bangalore. Sir has got a doctorate in computer science and masters in electrical engineering, both from the renowned institute IISc Bangalore and a bachelor's in electrical engineering from NIT Calicut. Following his doctorate, he has been associated with information technology sector for 26 years, working as industry solutions for retail, telecom, banking and financial services, and energy and utilities business domains for domestic and international customers. Sir has also previously served as a group manager at IBM in the cognitive business division of the Global Business Services BU, and Sir has also served as held senior roles at reputed IT companies such as Hewlett Packard, Toshiba Software India and Wipro Technologies. Now it's my proud moment and honor to welcome both the speakers to this session. And for the valuable webinar experience, I request all the participants to mute their video and audio when the session is going on, and if they have any particular doubts during the session, kindly please put in the chat box and that will be answered at the later point during the interaction session. Now, the first session speaker, I invite Dr. Jaget Babu sir to take over the session. Over to the speaker.
So once again, morning everyone.
Good morning.
We have been a bit late, but at any rate we'll start now. So the subject, as has been mentioned by the Vice Principal, Dr. Kavita ma'am, is the fourth industrial revolution. So the subject we are looking at is revolution. So the word revolution indicates a fundamental change. So when we add the word industrial, it shows a fundamental change in the economy. And economy has to do with the way we earn an income. In other words, gaining employment and our livelihood. So industrial revolution brings about a fundamental change not only in economy but also in social and political spheres. So the first industrial revolution was from the year 1760 to 1840. So it was brought about by the railways and the invention of steam engine. And at this time, the era of mechanical production also began. The second industrial revolution began in the late 19th century, approximately in the year 1880, and it was continued into the early 20th century up until 1914 or 15. So the main drivers were the introduction of electricity and the assembly line in the automotive industry by Henry Ford in the year 1914. And at this time, mass production became a reality. And the third industrial revolution began in the 1960s, and it was influenced by the development of semiconductors, mainframe computers, then personal computers in the 1970s and 1980s, and also the internet, which began in the 1990s. So the fourth industrial revolution is the era of digitization. So at this time, let us frame the idea of the fourth industrial revolution. I will show the slides now. If we can see the slides, you can indicate that they are visible. So the idea of the fourth industrial revolution affirms that technological change is a driver of transformation relevant to all industries and parts of society. So it highlights the idea that at certain stages in history, sets of technologies emerge, and these technologies combine in ways that have impacts far beyond incremental increases in efficiency. So what that means is that it not only enhances the efficiency of machines, but it has impacts beyond the engineering field. Fundamentally, the fourth industrial revolution represents a series of significant shifts in the way that economic, political, and social value is being created, exchanged, and distributed. So these shifts in values are intimately related to the emergence of new technologies that span the digital, physical, and biological worlds. So that they are most powerful when they combine and reinforce one another. So now that we got an idea of what the fourth industrial revolution is, we just take a look at Industry 4.0. So the fourth industrial revolution and Industry 4.0 are related. Industry 4.0 lies within the larger framing of 4IR, or the fourth industrial revolution. It has a narrow but vital or important focus on the relationship between digitization, organizational transformation, and productivity enhancement in manufacturing and production systems. So although they may appear different, they are related. The focus of Industry 4.0 is narrow, but it's very important, especially in the relationship with regards to digitization, then organizational transformation, and enhancement of productivity in manufacturing and production systems. So we use the prefix fourth because it's important for reason that this revolution is intended to go beyond the digital revolution. Digital revolution has been described as a transition from an industrial to an information age, which has been identified as the third industrial revolution based on digital information technologies. The fourth industrial revolution builds upon the power of the human brain. So the second technology we looked at was big data. The third technology we look at is digital health. So analyzing medical data from different populations and from different geographic locations, this will give very big data, and this data will help understand patterns and connections in diseases and identify which conditions improve the effectiveness of certain treatments and those which do not. So there has been a technology called the CRISPR, C-R-I-S-P-R. It is a tool to alter DNA sequence and modify gene function. So with this technology and more, we could have a transformative effect on health, along with the potential to treat genetic defects like in cancer, and also there is the potential to prevent or eradicate diseases. So that's the digital health. The third technology, and the fourth is the digitization of matter. So we are talking about 3D printing. As we focus our attention on 3D printing, a brief definition is that it brings together computational design, manufacturing, materials engineering, and synthetic biology. It reduces the gap between makers and users and removes the limitations of mass production. With 3D printers, the cars can be made, not only cars, but houses and other objects, and also human tissue, bones, and prosthetics. So a few years back, a 3D spine was made and it was placed inside a boy. So 3D printed spine implant was made, and in the not too distant future, we can expect a 3D printed car that will be produced. The fifth technology that we'll focus on now is the Internet of Things. So this is the largest digital mega trend, the Internet of Things or the industrial Internet of Things. It bridges the physical and virtual worlds. There is increasing networking of people, objects, and machines with the Internet. So a large amount of sensors will be connected to the internet, in fact, of the order of 1 trillion sensors. So it will transform how business is done, and before long we can have self-driving vehicles that can communicate or talk with one another, preventing accidents. So soon around 22% of the world's cars will be connected to the internet. So that's about 290 million vehicles will be connected to the internet. So with home automation being realized at a fast pace, we can control our lights, heating, air, AC, and security systems remotely, which are in our home. For the sixth technology that we will consider is the blockchain, which is essentially a network of computers that must all approve a transaction before it can be verified and recorded. So using cryptography to keep the transaction secure, the technology provides a decentralized digital ledger that anyone on the network can see. So before blockchain, we relied on trusted institutions such as a bank to act as a middleman. Now the blockchain can act as that trusted authority on every type of transaction involving value, including money, goods, and property. So the use of blockchain technology, the uses are endless. So some expect that in very shortly, within the span of 10 years, it will be used to collect taxes. It will make it easier for immigrants to send money back to countries where access to the financial institutions is limited. And financial fraud will also be significantly reduced as every transaction will be recorded and distributed on a public ledger, which will be accessible by anyone who has an internet connection. So the seventh technology we'll consider is the wearable internet. So we see that technology is becoming increasingly personal. Computers are moving from our desks to our laps to our pockets, and soon they will be integrated into our clothing. So before long, around about 5 or 10 years Down the line, 10% of people are expected to wear clothes that are connected to the internet, and we can also expect an implantable mobile device. So an implantable mobile device is one which can be placed inside your head or inside your arm or even in your hand. So implantable and wearable devices such as sports shirts that provide real-time workout data. They measure the sweat output, heart rate, and breathing intensity. They are changing our understanding of what it means to be online, and they blur the lines between the physical and digital worlds. So after the first industrial revolution, steam engine replaced muscle power, and now after the at this time, during the course of the fourth industrial revolution, computers and other devices will replace mental power. All you have to do is to place a chip in your mind, like a mobile phone that can be placed in your head, arm, or hand, and that will give you the ability to control devices with your brain. So that is one technology of the fourth industrial revolution. The eighth one is AI, artificial intelligence. So it is a powerful technology. It has got the potential to disrupt and define our businesses, societies, and lives. So the internet has already disrupted about 20% of global economy, and artificial intelligence will transform the rest. The 10 most valuable companies use AI. Of them, only 5 of them use AI. They are Alphabet, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook. So artificial intelligence is practical. You can embed that everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you're in a medical profession or in manufacturing or even in agriculture. You will have to deal with artificial intelligence applications. So the technology of AI is being used at the present time to find a solution or find a vaccine against the coronavirus. So it was the World Health Organization who made the public warning in late December that there is a pandemic named COVID-19. But a Canadian organization by the name of Blue Dot used AI. They analyzed news reports, social media platforms, and other documents. They used AI to detect the outbreak of this pandemic, and they warned of the threat days before the World Health Organization issued the public warning. WHO issued the public warning in late December, and a few days before that, it was the company Blue Dot in Canada using artificial intelligence released this warning. So diagnosis systems powered with artificial intelligence can diagnose the virus in seconds, and that will be accurate to a degree of 96%. So AI technology can be helpful in understanding the universe, such as how it works and the origin of the universe. It can be used for developing self-driven cars, which will make your journey more safe and secure. So the artificial AI is also used at the present time to find a vaccine against this virus that causes the COVID-19. So there are two ways in which AI is being used at the present time. The first way is that every day lots of journal papers are being released. They gain information about the development in the area of the vaccine. So a professional does not have that time to read all of these journal papers in a day. So that is where one can use AI or artificial intelligence. It helps medical researchers scan or read tens of thousands of relevant research papers at a very quick pace, and then if you give a keyword or a helpful phrase, it will identify those articles that are relevant to medical researchers. So that's one way AI is being used. The second way how AI is being used is in this manner. So the viruses, the coronavirus have got proteins made up of a sequence of amino acids. The amino acids in the protein determine the unique 3D shape of the protein. So understanding a protein structure is essential to understanding how it works. Once the shape is understood, then scientists can develop drugs and that work with the protein's unique shape. But it would need a very long time to examine all possible shapes of a protein before finding its unique 3D structure. In fact, the phrase a long time is an understatement. The medical professional says that it will take centuries to find all possible shapes of the protein. So this is where AI can be very helpful. It can identify the unique 3D structure, and then medical researchers can select that 3D structure in its effort to find a vaccine against the coronavirus. So we looked at 8 of the technologies that make up the fourth industrial revolution. So a few years back, there was a meeting of industry people and academia. The chief executive officer of UST Global made this remark that these emerging technologies of the fourth industrial revolution can be quite dangerous. He made the remark that these technologies can be more dangerous than a nuclear bomb. So if you look at history, every technological invention and every scientific development has been put to two kinds of uses, a good use for the benefit of mankind and also bad use for destructive and evil purposes. So take for instance the aeroplane. The aeroplane was invented at the beginning of the last century, and when the First World War broke out in 1914, aeroplanes were used to in the war. Both sides used aeroplanes to fight against each other. And during the Second World War, two nations fought against each other entirely with aircrafts. And during that time, a man learned to extract energy by splitting the atom. And a nuclear bomb was made at that time, and two nuclear devices were dropped on two cities. So we can see that any technological development or scientific invention can be put to two uses, good use and bad use. So the speed and measure of the changes that are occurring from the fourth industrial revolution are not to be ignored. So we cannot ignore the pace at which developments take place. So these changes will bring about shifts in power, shifts in wealth and knowledge. So only in being knowledgeable about these changes and the speed in which this is occurring can we ensure that advances in knowledge and technology reach all and benefit all of mankind, averting bad uses of this technology. So I like to present as 6 principle-based actions as to how the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution can be used for the benefit of mankind. So 6 principle-based actions to ensure the fourth industrial revolution in manufacturing delivers the maximum positive benefit for all of mankind. So the first principle is that augment instead of replace the operator. That means it has to be ensured that people do not lose their jobs. They have to be upskilled. Training has to be imparted to them. So this is the first principle: augment instead of replacing the operator. And the second principle is that invest in capability building and lifelong learning. In other words, the organizations that wish to take advantage of the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution has to invest to buy these technologies and train its workforce. So the third principle is that diffuse the technologies throughout geographical areas and include small and medium enterprises. In other words, such technologies should not be limited to the use to its so every organization, every industrial organization, be it small or medium or large enterprises, every industrial organization must be encouraged to use the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, regardless of its geographical location. And the fourth one is to protect organizations and society through cyber security. We know that there is great danger at the present time with the usage of internet, and so regulations have been put in place for protection. And fifth is collaborate on open fourth industrial revolution platforms and handle data carefully. So big data can be misused, can be abused by nations, one nation using the data against another nation, or one organization making use of this data entirely for financial advantages. So that all should be avoided, and the common good must be kept on one's mind. And lastly, we have to address the challenge of climate change using the fourth industrial revolution technologies. So these are tentative 6 principles that can be implemented for the better use of the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. So, in closing, I have to make this remark that we stand at the present time on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate to one another. So its scale, scope, and complexity, that in its scale, scope, and complexity, the transformation will be unlike anything humankind has experienced before. So nothing of this kind mankind has not experienced before. Nothing of this sort. They have not experienced anything of this sort. So at the present time, we do not yet know how it will unfold, but one thing is clear, that the response to it must be integrated and comprehensive. So all stakeholders must be involved, the global polity, from the public and private sectors to academic and civil society. So over the last 30 or 40 minutes, I made a brief presentation of the fourth industrial revolution. We saw the framing of its idea. It is the emergence of new technologies that can give great benefits to mankind the world over. And we saw a few of the technologies, and we saw a case study, and we also saw the advantages of adopting the technologies of fourth industrial revolution. And when we came towards the close of this presentation, I made the point that the technologies can be put to both good use and bad use. A good use is good for all of mankind, but bad use must be avoided. And I made a 6-point formula. I presented a 6-point formula as to how the technologies can be put to good use. So at this time, I will close now. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. So before we move on to the next session, we are behind time. The second session should have started at 11:30. So if there are no further questions that you might want to ask, I will ask the moderator to hand over the charge to the next speaker, Dr. Venugopal. Is that okay? Do you want me to stay here, or can I hand over the charge to the moderator?
Once again, good afternoon to everyone. So I extremely, with wholehearted format, thank our speakers of the webinar session 4IR and Data Analytics in Industry 4.0. I take the honor to thank our first speaker, Dr. Jaget Babu sir, Dean Academics VVIT, who have spent 30 years of entire career in academics. Sir, your session was really informative, and I think most of us would have got an idea how we can work out with Industrial Revolution 4.0 in different types of applications in day-to-day life. And I take this opportunity to thank our management and our principal, Dr. Sangeeta ma'am, the faculty team members from Mechanical Department and CSE Department, and all the participants from various colleges, professors from various colleges, and faculty team from various colleges. Thank you once again, and meet you in next seminar.